welcome to my YouTube channel. So, for today's video, we're gonna talk about iterative statement. So, before we gonna proceed to that topic, I'm gonna introduce myself first. So, I am Jonasami L. Bayan from Zone 10 Lingion, Manolo, Fortich, Bukidnon. So now, let's proceed to our topic for today's video. First is, we're gonna talk about what is iterative statement. Iterative statement is also known as a loop, is used to repeatedly execute a block of code until a certain condition is met. Iterative statements are essential for performing repetitive tasks and are fundamental part of programming. There are three types of iterative statement. These are the for loop, do while loop, and while loop. So first, I'm gonna explain what is for loop. So for loop is an iterative statement that allows execute a block of a code a specific number of times. For loop is a used to execute a single statement of a block of statement repeatedly as long as the given condition is true. The for loop is typically used when known in advance how many times you want to repeat a particular piece of a code. So guys, this is the for loop. So you see, the statement I use is the statement for loop. The purpose of this code is to count the display numbers from 1 to 10. So in this loop is a control that allows us to repeat a set of instructions a specific number of times. So in this for loop, it consists of three parts. So the first was initialization. It will initialize an integer I and sets its initial value. It will initialize an integer I and sets initial value 1. So second was the condition. The condition was I is less than or equal to 10. The loop will continue executing as long as the condition is I is less than or equal to 10. Then last was the iteration. The iteration was I++. This is the statement is increments the value of the I by 1 in each iteration. And after that, I print the value of I and it will display the numbers from 1 to 10 each on a separate line. So next, I'm gonna explain what is while loop. So while loop is a statement that repeatedly executes a block of a code as long as a specified condition is true. It is used when you want to continue running a piece of a code as long as certain condition remains satisfied. While loop repeats a statement of group while a given condition is true. It tests the condition before executing the loop body. So next, I'm gonna show you the while loop. So guys, this is the while loop. The example of the while loop is the same in the for loop. So you see, this time we use a statement called while loop. The process of the while loop are the same in the for loop. It is also has three parts. We was initialize the integer variable 1 to 10 to I. Initialize the integer variable 1 I to 1. The next was the condition. The condition we used was a while loop, which means that the loop continues as long as the I is less than or equal to 10. And lastly was the iteration. This statement will increment the value of I in each iteration, and after that, I print the value of I and then It will display the numbers from 1 to 10 on a separate line. The same in the for loop. So the difference on this two statement is I use while loop instead of the for loop. And the last one is a do while loop. So do while loop is a statement that guarantees the execution of a block of code at least once and the repeatedly executes the block as long as a specified condition remains true. Do while loop is like a while statement, except that it tests the condition at the end of the loop body. So in this part, the given example I give is the same in the for loop and the do while loop. So these are the do while loop. So lastly, guys, I'm gonna show you the do while loop. So these are the do while loop. The same in the first example of iterative statement. It also have a three parts. The first was to initialize, second, the condition, and last was the iteration. We start by do while loop, which guarantees that the loop body will executed at least once, regardless of the initial condition, and it increments I by using the 1 plus plus to prepare for the next iteration. So the loop condition was a do while loop. It checks if the I is less than or equal to 10. And as long as the condition is true, the loop will continue to execute. The loop repeats the steps until I reaches the value of 10. And if it is reached on 11, at this point the condition becomes false. Also, the result will display the number 1 to 10 on a separate line. It will become false when it reaches in 11 because we declare that the value of Ri is only in 10. So when it reaches in 11, it will become false. So guys, this I will end my presentation about the iterative statement, and I hope that you understand my explanation about iterative statement, and also I'm hoping that you understand my explanation about the code of for loop, while loop, and the do while loop, and what are the differences between the three iterative statements. So thank you guys for watching my video. Bye bye.